Morning, Trainiacs! Morning. So as a lot of you are getting close to race season right now, but you're kind of in that point where like you're still building speed or strength, and this goes for beginners and experienced triathletes. It's kind of a transition point where we want to transition all of the strength and the base work that you built over the winter into strength specifically on your bike. So today we're going to talk about a workout and a series of workouts, a workout progression really, that you can do to build beastly strength on the bike. I'm going to do it right now. So that was a 50-minute bike followed by a 15-minute run, which I did 2.8 kilometers, 1.74 miles, about a 5.5-minute kilometer, 9-minute mile. Nothing great, run, walk. However, in the new Scody kit that I'm trying out, more on that later. I dig it so far. Okay, so something that over the last week while I was at the QT2 Systems Pro Training Camp that Jesse Kropelnicki mentioned a lot was, and muscle tension is basically like high power, high intensity, putting a lot of strain on the muscles. Traditionally, when we've been biking, we want to spin up to a nice high cadence of in between, say, 85 and 100. And because that's a really light cadence, it's not putting a ton of pressure on the muscles. It's putting more pressure on our cardiovascular system, saving our muscles for the run. But there's been a big trend towards lower cadence riding. The thought behind that was, in addition to taking load off the muscles so that we're fresher for the run, it's also so that the cadence on the bike is more similar to the cadence on the run, and you're kind of keeping the same pace throughout. However, there's been a big trend towards not just training, but racing at lower cadences with intense running, lower cadence cycling, muscle tension. Now, there's a few benefits to this lower cadence riding, one being that because you're not spinning your limbs so quickly, your heart rate's going to be lower, conceivably taking less out of you throughout the duration of the ride. Also, because your heart isn't beating so quickly, you can potentially process nutrition faster because the blood isn't in your extremities, more is in your core and your digestive system. And at lower cadences, it's typically easier to push higher power, potentially more speed. Now, you don't have to go and change your entire race strategy and say you're gonna become like a 75 to 85 cadence racer. You can get a lot of the benefits of this muscle tension by doing muscle tension intervals, and here's how you do them. So now is actually a perfect time to do these high muscle tension intervals because we're transitioning from that speed and strength that we were focusing on in the winter towards race season, but we're a fair bit out of race season. What we've got to do is bridge taking that raw speed and strength that maybe you were working on in the gym, lifting weights, to a more sport-specific strength and speed. And these low cadence, really high strength, high muscle activation workouts where you're recruiting a ton of muscle fibers in a sport-specific manner is a great way to do that. So you can start by, in a workout, doing 3 times 5 minutes at 40 to 60 RPMs and then 5 minutes of light spinning. That'll get you used to that really low cadence. Don't worry about having high power. Don't worry about having a high heart rate. My power right now is basically just race pace power, but my heart rate was way down around 130, and that's natural. That's what's gonna happen because you're not spinning so quickly. And gradually what you're gonna do is you're gonna build from 5 minutes at low cadence to, say, 7 minutes at low cadence, and then 5 minutes of spinning, and then 8 minutes at low cadence, and then 5 minutes of spinning. And what you wanna do each week is probably add about a minute to each low cadence interval. So each week going 7 minutes, 8 minutes, 9 minutes, 10 minutes, 11 minutes. And what you can do on the rest is chop it down from 5 minutes to 4:45, 4:30, 4:15, 4, 3:45. And what's gonna happen is you're gonna start having a larger proportion of your workout being at low cadence. It's gonna get gradually more difficult to the point that you're doing somewhere around a 20-minute continuous low cadence effort, and this is gonna be lots. You do that once throughout a workout, you got yourself a really honest workout. And then once you get about 2 to 3 months from your absolute key A race that you wanna be ideally tapered and prepared for, you can start backing these off and start getting into more race-specific efforts. And what'll likely happen is the more time you spend at that low cadence work, the more when you start getting into your race-specific training, your cadence is gonna be lower, your power is gonna be higher, your heart rate's gonna be lower, and you're gonna go faster at a lower perceived exertion. All good things, Trainiacs. So I hope that helps. If you want to see some more cycling workout videos, hit this over here. If you aren't yet subscribed, hit the subscribe button down there and hit that notification bell if you don't want to miss our daily triathlon videos. If you are subscribed, hit that like button. If you're this far into the video, odds are you didn't hate it. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.